I always say it's a small sandbox we play in, but it really isn't. I mean, when it comes to people's reputation and, who does most of the business in this industry, it's definitely a small sandbox. But I actually think that good test case for capitalism is the real estate industry. We are. So.
And that's really what it is, right? It's just trying to do the right thing, trying to guide them and steer them in the right direction. Yeah. You're providing all the information. You're giving your thoughts as to where we're at and what we should do, but ultimately it's on them to want to buy into that or agree with you, and let's take the course of action.
And he always says that that second company is usually the one that really takes off. If you talk about revenue share model, you had EXP who broke the whole mold. They went from profit share at KW to revenue share at EXP.
Yeah.
And then you have Real, which is the second iteration. So if we bring that business to market, shouldn't we get more of that money? And that I think slow realization is why we are here.
Yeah, and it's ironic that you say that too, because I've been having that conversation for quite a while now, right? The brokerage doesn't make money without the agent, period. It's the way it's been. It's the agent's face. It's not even really the brand anymore. It's the agent relationship with the client. Believe it or not, as a whole, I don't think it does. But I have had some tremendous opportunity come out of serving the seller through an open house.
You're listening to Make Your Own Key. I started this podcast to have authentic conversations with agents and cover the hot topics about the real estate industry and how to build profitable real estate business and teams. There's so much fluff and ego surrounding this business, and it's tough to know what's true and what's not. We're going to talk about what it really takes to make it in real estate, the truth about teams and brokerages, and how to position yourself for the next 5 years in this business. After all, your brokerage isn't going to save you. Success in real estate is up to you. I'm Seth Lejeune. Thanks for listening. Find us on Instagram at Make Your Own Key. Let's go.
All right, Justin, thanks for hopping on with me.
What's happening?
So, everyone, this is Justin Heath, the one, the only.
Good morning. Thanks for having me on.
Sure, man. Just past guests, we're just getting on talking about the biz a little bit, making kind of doing the rounds, seeing what everyone's feeling about the market. We've obviously been through quite a stress test over the last 5-6 years.
Yeah.
Up is down, down is up.
Yeah.
And, welcome.
Exactly.
So,
thanks. Good stuff.
Real quick, why don't you just introduce yourself, kind of your background, and we'll get this thing started.
Yeah. So this is my 8th year in real estate as of this past week, which is wild to see. It got started in business about 8 years ago. Was in corporate for a really long time, traveling the country, doing corporate sales, managing healthcare portfolios for pharmaceutical companies, and kind of grew up in the traditional real estate family. Both parents in the business. My dad was in it for 50 something years, and just was around the business for the entirety of my life. It's something I wanted to do a super long time ago. Tried to get into it in the early 20s, went a different direction, and at 36, switching gears, leaving the W-2 behind, making a boatload of money, and decided that real estate was going to be the path forward for me, being an independent contractor,
Yeah, well, sometimes it takes working for the man, and then I can't do this. I'm not wired for this.
Yeah.
So I'm pretty sure, in medieval times, I would have been the one in shackles in the dungeon, because I would
probably myself as well. Yeah.
Well, I'll tell you, I mean, it tracks, right? Because one of the nice things about real estate is we get to kind of chart our own course as long as we stay within the guardrails of, the ethical guardrails and legal guardrails. But, we get to generate our business how we want, and we get to, we don't have to, the nice thing about independent contractors is people really actually legally can't tell us what to do.
Right.
As long as we don't violate those 2 precepts. So,
And
then were you at other brokerages before?
I was, yes. I started my journey with KW for about 3 years. And then I did the KW Compass migration.
Yeah.
Spent about a year and a half with Compass, left, and found Real. So 3 brokerages in 8 years. But almost coming up this week is my 3-year anniversary with Real.
Oh, that's your third full year?
Yeah.
Oh, wow. Okay. So you've almost spent half your career at Real.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I didn't know that. I'm actually, in October will be 2. So
It's pretty cool.
I used to say like I'm still a baby here, but I'm not. There's a lot of people, joining. So what is your like favorite thing about real estate?
Every day changes. I like change. I like being able to network with different individuals, kind of pick things, work with different clientele. I think in the very early beginning, I didn't know what I liked about real estate other than the chase, right? Mm-hmm. Chase down clients, getting them to kind of buy into you as an agent and creating that relationship. Now it's like in year 8, it's more for me about figuring out who it is I want to work with and where I want to work with them. And then the agent relationship, right? Networking. There's all these like little different avenues that you can kind of travel down within real estate. Mm-hmm. Right? So lately I've been spending a lot of my time building something on the back end that just kind of was like a light bulb type moment where, I struggle in real estate. The one thing I struggle with in real estate is the subscription-based platform that we've grown into. Everything is subscription based, right? Which
unpack that. I don't know what that means.
Yeah. So everything you do from CRM, from lead gen, from following a podcast, from templates, it could be anything, from coaching. People are trying to get you to buy into their service.
Oh God. Yeah. Okay.
Right.
Yeah.
And why I love that, because it's extremely entrepreneurial. That's what I love about real estate. But real estate has also afforded me the opportunity to kind of like step back from actually the transactions and maybe start going down a little bit of a different path in conjunction with the business. Mm-hmm. So I think it's just like it's just wide open. You can get your hands into anything.
Yeah.
So
I always say it's a small sandbox we play in, but it really isn't. I mean, when it comes to people's reputation and, who does most of the business in this industry, it's definitely a small sandbox. But I actually think that good test case for capitalism is the real estate industry. I say there's no other organism on this planet that's solicited more than the real estate agent. I mean, good God. And
it's wild to think about that, right? Because like you could meet a client for the very first time, and in that moment, at the end of that meeting, you're leaving with a key to their house.
Yeah.
Like I don't know another industry out there where you meet somebody for the first time and within an hour, someone's handing you a key to their home, being like, "Hey, you're responsible for keeping this baby safe."
And transacting, one of the largest investments of, and financial transactions of my life. Right.
Yeah.
Or at least that at up until that point. What's your thoughts just on the market? Where do you think the market's at? I mean, you have the unenviable task of answering this question during an Iran Middle East crisis. But what is your just general? You can take this question however you want. What's your general sense of like where the market's headed, or where we've been, or just talk that?
Oh, it's crazy, man. I think like standing at a soccer field to get that question every single weekend, like how's the market? And it's always like it's super interesting to answer that question, because I think depending on where you focus your time or where you're looking, the market's moving pretty quick. Mm-hmm. But in other areas, it's moving slow. So you have to be a chameleon more than anything. I definitely think like the Iran situation is not helping things right now, right? Like, we've seen a huge spike in interest rates, like rapid overnight. Still movable though, right? Still attainable to get out. It's like going from 5.5 or whatever. I had somebody get quote from 5.5 about a week and a half, 2 weeks ago. Now we're at 6.5. Mm-hmm. Right. So I think it's just really dependent upon where you're conducting your business or where you're looking to buy or sell a home. I think one of the things that I have the benefit of is being super local here in Horsham. The Horsham market moves.
Yeah.
Quick. There's like no inventory at all. And in a large part, like where you're at in Bluebell, right? Like It's the same thing. Like people want those communities, especially at the lower tax bracket from the school district standpoint. People want to get into those districts. So, I think there's definitely a little bit of a wave right now. It's interesting. Like I was just telling you, I have a property up on market. I've had no activity on it at all. And it's a hot area to be in. So it's like you said, it's
like one of the hottest. Like that blue or that part of Bucks County,
right,
is not I felt like as a kind of an untapped secret there for a while, and now it's like everyone's
yeah. So like you said earlier, it's price, condition, location. So I definitely think there's some caution in the market right now, more than anything. I think
even in our market.
Yeah, even in our market, I think there's caution. I still think that from a seller's perspective, at least from what I encounter, I think sellers are still in that COVID mindset that they can sell their house for anything that they want to. And it takes somebody like you or I or the other colleagues that we have in place to come in and give them a reality check. You definitely have to be careful right now, right? Yeah, you're still gonna get a boatload of cash for your property, but you gotta price it accurately. And from a buyer's standpoint, it's definitely hit or miss with property. I've saw something this past weekend that looked great in Lansdale, and I go out to the property and it's like, oof.
Yeah.
You wallpapered countertop. Like, who does that?
What they wallpapered like a granite pattern? Oh my God.
Yeah. Over Formica countertop. I'm like, that doesn't look good.
Yeah. And I don't even know how that's durable.
Right, exactly. Yeah, I think there's caution. That's the best way I could explain it right now. At least from the clients that I'm working with, there's definitely caution on both sides of the fence.
What are your thoughts on the general economy, U.S. housing market? We went from 6.2 million transactions in 2022 to 3.9 in 2023. So everyone's got whiplash. Predictions were including from one of our good friends, Dustin Brum, that was going to be 5.5 million transactions. I don't think we're tracking towards that, but
right.
Where are you thinking the real estate market is headed overall?
I still think the trajectory is up. I still think there's a positive mindset around real estate as a whole. Where I think most people get jammed up, and this is the thing that makes me trying to take a step back and take a pause, is it's the media driven information, right? That now is not the time to buy, that are, we're trillions in dollars in debt. The housing market is not the opportunity for you. I completely disagree, right? There's no better investment than getting into the housing market. That's how I generally feel. And that's across the nation, right? There's hotbeds. Like you look at the Midwest, it's traditionally a little bit slow moving, but things are starting to pick up there a little bit, right? There's a ton of building in the Northeast corridor going on. I mean, you can look right out your window and travel 2 miles down the road. There's a new construction community coming, right? So builders are building, people are looking for houses. I think the overall idea about real estate is that things are still looking up. And again, it goes back to somebody like yourself and myself, or the people that we're connected to in the industry, shedding a positive light on it, right? The more negativity that goes into it, it's going to make people retract. We need some positivity in terms of the communication as to exactly what is going on within the market, so that we're properly educating people to help them make the best overall decision. So I think across the country, like the mindset is, the outlook is good. I just think we need some better information out there.
Are you a marry the house, date the rate kind of guy?
Oh man, it's such a cliche.
Hey, listen, you just said let's breathe some positivity in this shit. So let's talk.
Listen, like as much as I think for somebody that wants to get out of renting, that's maybe throwing $3,000 out the window for a studio apartment somewhere or a 1-bed apartment somewhere, buy a house. even if temporarily. So if that means you need to, date the rate, marry the house, whatever it might be,
Yeah.
go do that, right? Build a little bit of equity and find a way to leverage that into the next asset, right? That's the thing. Like, I hate that word. Like, I hate that.
I know, it's so cliche.
It's so cliche. You need to do what is in the best interest of you, like financially, period. Right?
Yeah.
Let somebody, like, I know you have a process as an agent. I know that your process is down. You're meeting with clients. You're going over the scenarios that would work for them. You're educating, you're teaching them. I do the same thing, right? We might do it a little bit different, structured different, conversation, whatever. I definitely think that, the date the rate, marry the house scenario is a real thing. I try not to like preach it, so to speak. I'm more so, hey, tell me where you're at. Lay it on the table for me. Like, this is attorney-client privilege here.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I don't think the concept is wrong. I just think that when people use it as a coverall to get sales is bullshit. I think
that's what I hate.
Yeah, it's that, like, that's the thing you trot out. That's the thing you put on your social media. That's the thing. And it does depend. And it depends on a couple things. I think, first of all, the longevity, like, how long is someone going to be in that house?
Right.
Second of all, like, can they actually onboard that higher payment? And like, if it's really stretching them, how long do they have that they can hold on to that? Right.
Sure.
And so it really, that saying for me, I've never used that saying, and I don't really approach it. I don't approach this business that way. All I do is I just try to give good advice and assess each client on a case by case basis, because it really does depend, man.
It totally does.
Especially with like younger people who are like having babies and they've got maternity leave and they've got like promotions coming up, or they just started a business, and it's like, how long can you warehouse that payment? On your bank account without getting squeamish. And I always just tell my clients, I'm like, I always tell them, like, the bank never forgets. They send it every month, and you need to be able to build wealth around this payment. Like, if you can't, there's no sense in you doing this at all. And it's like, not that you should, it shouldn't be a rounding error in your monthly finances, but at the same time, you need to be able to do the little things in life that allow you to live. Like, and I paint a picture of, like, it could be anything from being able to, like, send the kid to daycare maybe a few months earlier, and not worrying about that cost, or like being able to walk in. And I say this to the men, like, being able to walk into, Emily and be like, hey, I'm going to take you down to, or I'll take you up to Jim Thorpe, or I'm going to take you away for a weekend. I got everything squared away. And like those, like, I was like, those little quality pieces of your life. I was like, I don't want this house to be like the thing that stops you,
dragging you down.
Yeah.
I think that's my approach too. I think that's the way to do it. I think that term has come, in my opinion, from the mortgage business. Yeah. Right. It's the mortgage loan officer. Sorry guys, but like, the mortgage loan officer is looking for loan origination. And it's sadly was adopted by us for a while. I think at some point I might even use that term, like, for a very brief moment in time. I'm like, wait, this is wrong. Yeah.
Why do you think, can kind of parlay that into it? Why do you think realtors don't have a good reputation?
I think we're looked at like we're in it for the money. And I don't think most people know actually what goes into the job, right? There's a lot of thinking. There's a lot of thought process. There's a lot of sitting down and planning. You're meeting with somebody and you're trying to get them to buy into you, right? Just had a listening meeting last week. I have another one this evening. And automatically the first thing is like, hey, how much is your broker fee? Like, it's such a tough conversation to lead off. Like, you're using that to start off with, like, you're done from the get-go. Right? You called for a reason. Let's sit down and discuss like what this reason is. So I think like the notion about realtors is we're looked at like we're making a boatload of money and we're trying to get in and get out. And not every realtor is the same, sadly, right? There's agents, there's realtors. And what most people don't know is, like you said earlier, there's a small percentage of us that are doing the lion's share of the work.
Yep.
And so I don't think most people in the industry are aware of that. They just look at that percentage. Oh, you're getting paid 3% on the deal. That's 24 grand on a, 800 and something $1,000 home. Like it's so much more than that goes into it,
Yeah.
So
I don't think we're very good at demonstrating or telling people our value proposition. And the agents who do, they come off as like, ooh, look at me. Whereas, and I think that's why you've seen a lot of realtor social media flock towards authenticity of like documenting like what you're doing. Like, what am I, like, who does a really great job of this is our friend Becky Bostic. She's like out in a snowstorm, like shoveling the walk, like getting the snow, repositioning the sign, in like mittens and a hat on a Saturday morning, like that type of stuff where, this isn't the hardest job in the world, but if you do it at a high level and enough friends call and you have enough clients, it will consume your entire life.
Oh, it's going to. And I laugh because I talk to people that are like, they want to get into real estate part-time and do it as a hobby. I'm like, there is no part-time. One client's going to exhaust your every waking moment.
Yeah.
If it's the wrong client.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So
I think that, I think we're really bad at our value proposition. I also think that, people have been watching HGTV and like, they just get an idea of like that. Oh, that's what an agent does. Just comes in and asks some questions and then just writes up a contract and gets paid.
I don't think selling Sunset and owning Manhattan have helped.
It's not even that. It's like those ones. It's like the Love It or List It or those ones. The three, like, where it doesn't really show the breadth of like what an agent truly does. Like those people, and some savvy watchers might be like, well, I'm sure they like looked on the internet and found the properties for them and everything like that. But it's like, God, did you know before anyone even goes out, the amount of work to get them ready to even go out?
Right.
And not just like the time on calls or processes, or whatever. It's about getting the client emotionally prepared for the sale.
And I got to stop you there because I can remember when I first started, right? Ironically enough, this is going in my third year at Real, right? 3 years at Real, but it's also the month that I got licensed in real estate going back 8 years ago, right? I can remember being brand new and multiple different senior agents saying, listen, the most important single thing that you can do is set up a consultation with a client, like an actual consultation. Go through their wants, needs, go through their readiness, go through their, the emotional side, what's driving them to make the new purchase or the sell or what have you. Go through the finances. I think the thing that has really turned the idea of what a real estate agent is that COVID, where things were just turning and burning left and right. It was easy to get houses under contract, right? Like people are just buying them like pancakes, like easy. And so I think that made it super easy for agents to jump in the market, make quick money. And now that things are thick right now, right? It takes time to get somebody ready to go to the market. It takes time to get a buyer mentally prepared to get to that step. Most people are not thinking that way. Agents are not thinking that way. They're like, shit, I have this client. It's going to take them 6 months to get to the point of pulling the trigger on a purchase. I can't wait that long. They make it about them instead of the client's needs.
I always struggle with the idea of it being real estate sales. And it's not really sales. It's really like facilitating the sale. And like people are like, oh, okay, so you put a sign on the lawn and all this. It's like, no. I've been talking to this seller for 3 years.
Right.
And getting them comfortable with like what happens after they sell. The sale of the actual house is like a blip.
Right.
For me. You get those come list me calls like, hey, listen, I got a job in Cincinnati. I got to go. Like, just come, just list it. I know what it's worth. Like, you don't have to do your song and dance. But most of the time, I'm working with my clients at least 6 months, ahead of time. And that's why I always tell my team, every single seller that you, what's it called? There's a statistic that it's like 72% of home sellers in the United States decide they're going to sell the year previous.
Before.
Right.
Yeah.
And it's like, so that's why I always tell my team, I'm like, they're like, yeah, I got it. The sellers are like, yeah, I got it. Like, no. It's like, no. In the summer of the year before we think they're going to sell, we reach out to them because they do need so much time.
Yeah.
To get prepared for that type of thing. And I think that that's something that we don't do a very good job of, and I also think we're a little hamstrung by confidentiality, right? Like we can't just like start broadcasting like, hey, I saw Mary and Bob Abbott down the street,
Right. Exactly.
They're going to be coming to, list it. You have a bunch of realtors up your ass because you're like, well, are you privately like selling that? What are you doing with this? And I have not a contrarian, but I don't think enough people talk about, I think, and I was not licensed and neither were you, but I think real estate agents probably got a real raw deal after the Great Recession because they were the ones who said it'll be okay. They were the ones who said, yep, this will always appreciate. Yep. And then all of a sudden they're like, and no fault of their own. Well, maybe to some extent, but the market just completely tanked. And I think that, consumers want someone to blame. And they probably don't even remember the name of their frickin' lender.
Yeah. Right.
So I feel like there's a lot of mistrust out there, and I just every day try to do the right thing for people, and I know you do too. So
and that's really what it is, right? It's just trying to do the right thing, trying to guide them and steer them in the right direction.
Yeah.
You're providing all the information. You're giving your thoughts as to where we're at and what we should do, but ultimately it's on them to want to buy into that or agree with you, and let's take the course of action.
Yeah. Let's switch gears. The American real estate brokerage. I always ask this question. I'm curious to know what you feel in 5 years, what this landscape is going to look like.
Oh man, I think we're going to I think the landscape is going to be drastically different than what we're in right now. I think we're already starting to see it. We're starting to see brokerages starting to gobble up other brokerages, right? Compass did it with Anywhere Real Estate, multiple brands within that acquisition. You've got, you came from Remax, right? So, you have Remax is...
Can't imagine that company's not bought by the end of the year.
You're already
acquired.
Right. Acquired or consumed in some way, shape, or form, right? So I think we're going to have just a couple of models. I think we're going to have the cloud-based brokerage model, and we're going to have a couple really large brands. And then I also think that we're going to have these little pop-up companies that are trying to mimic what EXP and what Real are doing and call themselves the next best thing.
The next gen.
The next gen of real estate, right? I don't think that those companies are going to be able to stick around as well as a Real, an EXP, a Compass, and what have you, Keller Williams. I don't think Keller Williams is going anywhere either. I say that because I think Gary Keller will find a way to keep KW relevant for a handful more years prior to doing something. I don't know what that something is going to look like, but I definitely think that there's just going to be a few of us out there.
I don't disagree. I think that have you ever read Andy Grove's book, Only the Paranoid Survive?
I have not. No.
So it's written in the 90s, but it's a really interesting case study of what IBM had to do with Chinese and like Japanese like computer chips entering the market. So like IBM was like through the 50s and 60s, they were in with NASA, they had government program, government contracts and everything like that. But all of a sudden all this competition swarmed in the 80s.
Yeah.
And so Andy Grove was the CEO at the time, and it was all about how they innovate back into relevance, right? And obviously it's tech. It's a playground of of innovation, of course, but it always talks. It talks a lot about, and actually Peter Thiel talks about this 0 to 1 because in his book 0 to 1, which is about startups, and he always says that like that second company is usually the one that like really takes off. Like, so if you talk about revenue share model, you had EXP who like broke the whole mold. They went from like profit share at KW to revenue share at EXP.
Yeah.
Then you've got, and then you have real, which is like the second iteration.
Sure.
And it talks a lot about how that second one is usually the one that takes hold in the market. And then usually they can try to crowd out the rest of them. Because if that second model is an improvement on the first, it's just a matter of time until the consumer, in this case, the realtor, goes over and adopts, which is, I think, what we could attest we could assign all of our growth to at Real.
Yeah, absolutely.
And I agree with you. There's going to be pretenders. There's a couple of companies out there, even in our local market, who are trying to do the same thing.
Yeah.
Will they eventually be better than where we're at? Maybe. And then guess what? Picking up my license, going over there, right? I mean, we have the ability to take this like little $500 piece of paper that we have a real estate license
and shift it
and just take it where we need it to go. You know, I think there's going to be some big brands that are gobbled up for sure.
Mm-hmm.
I think a general rule is any company with a lot of overhead, a lot of administrative staff, a lot of commercial leases or ownership of buildings or anything like that, that is built on a 1990s or 2000s model of real estate.
Yeah.
I think is either going to have to completely rework the structure of their business, or they're going to be acquired. And they're
I think you've seen it, right? Like, you look at the KW franchise in itself, and I think it maybe even happens with Remax, but I know intimately with KW, you've got the different franchise models or the different franchise locations, right? I've talked to an agent last week that's with KW in the city. His cap is $45,000 a year on a 70-30 split. You're never, as an agent, you're never making money. I talked to an agent last week as well on Friday with another KW. His cap is $16K a year. Different franchise, right? He said, well, I don't really have an incentive to move. I don't have the pain. I'm like, well, we need to discover what that pain is. Like, your split is not advantageous to you.
Yeah.
Right. So it's interesting to see how the different models work and the different franchises impact the model and the payout to the agent. And
I know Gary Keller seriously regrets selling his franchises because everyone lost the plot.
Correct. Yeah.
Where now they're all competing against each other.
Yeah. And I think that's why you're starting to see, that's why EXP was born. That's why Real was born, right? Give agents more of their money back.
Yeah.
In the long run. But I think that's also why you're starting to see smaller unknown companies start to pop up, the 100% companies that are just charging a monthly transaction fee. But what's funny to me is that most agents don't correlate if they're doing 30 deals a year and they're paying, let's call it a $400 or $500 month per transaction fee. It's like $30,000 a year.
Plus like an $80 tech fee and a $10 to $100 invest fee, right?
Yeah, it's wild to me. So
I think that the way I always describe this is that, like, the real estate brokerage was profitable.
Yeah.
When everything was 50-50.
Yeah.
Like 60-40. Yeah. And then, Remax kind of screwed the pooch, and then Gary Keller poured gasoline on it, and basically going to the cap model, basically limiting the amount of money that the agent is or the brokerage takes from the agent.
Right.
Force them to head towards ancillaries, head towards other things. And it was fabulously profitable because when you're sitting there and, you're a 50-50 with like Bob's Realty, and then Remax comes on, Gail and Dave Linninger are like, hey, listen, after like $10,000, you're 100%.
Yeah.
Everyone's going to groundswell to that. And that's largely what the transition from like KW to EXP was.
Yeah.
It's like, okay, well, listen, we're going to give you more of your money back because we're not going to do profit share. We're going to do revenue share.
Right.
And then, EXP, is what it is. I personally feel that Real's an improvement over that model.
I do as well.
Multiple ways. But, we're compensated for the value we bring to the marketplace. And that's not between the agent and the consumer. We're compensated because we're the value. We are the value. We're the value proposition.
Right.
We're talking about We're talking about dealing with people 2-3 years ahead of a transaction that the brokerage has
Absolutely.
nothing to do with.
Yeah.
So if we bring that business to market, shouldn't we get more of that money? And
And
that
I think
slow realization is why we are here.
Yeah, and it's ironic that you say that too, because I've been having that conversation for quite a while now, right? The brokerage doesn't make money without the agent. Period. Like it's the way it's been. It's the agent's face. It's not even really the brand anymore. It's the agent relationship with the client.
Yeah.
Right. And so I think the idea that you have to attach yourself to a brand to go out and acquire a business or to create a relationship with somebody, that's gone.
Yeah.
The consumer doesn't give a shit whether you're working with Compass, KW, or Berkshire or what have you.
Yeah.
Maybe the client of 30 years ago, who's the boomer still in their house and they're not aware of us, right? Yeah. Maybe they assimilate that, but I don't think it matters as much as anymore.
No, it doesn't. And I think that, if I could speak to the real estate agent out there, is like you have to put your license where it makes the most money and where it serves your clients the best. And frankly, making more money serves your client better. And it's just that there's so many people who I think got their ego tied into that brand, and they also have zero idea on how to navigate the conversation when they leave and all of the peer pressure they're going to get. Being like, oh my God, Denise, you left. What happened? Having to deal with that, deal with all that bullshit. And in the end, though, you are every transaction leaking money out of your eventual retirement and your wealth. And that was what I did. Actually, Remax was a great model. I mean, financially, Remax is a very, very competitive model. I joined Real because of other factors. It was just there was no real community. It was all very everyone's on their own, independent. That's all Remax is. And I really wanted to join a brokerage that had some community.
Yeah.
But I mean, I've had probably last year, 3 agents at the settlement table be like, where do you even hang your license? Are you with KW or whatever?
Yeah.
The buyer doesn't even know. I mean, other than signing some documents, they scroll right past. They would have no idea where my brokerage is or what brokerage I'm with.
Yeah, same. I love that question. I say Real, and they're like, "Who?" Exactly.
That's it. Yeah.
Exactly.
So, what is your biggest pet peeve in this business about agents? What's the thing? Because I got one. I'm ready to tee off. I have a podcast. I'm going to tee off on this thing. But what is your what's your biggest pet peeve? What's one thing if you could wave a magic wand you would change about this industry?
Man,
it could be small. It could be big. It could be really.
I have a couple actually. I'm going to give you 2. Okay. I have 5, but I'm going to give you 2.
Okay.
That give me nuts. Agents don't answer their phone. Number 1, right? You have a cell phone. You need to be available to answer questions. Mm-hmm. Period. That's the first thing. I'll keep it short and sweet. Answer your phone. Be readily available. Right? I'm trying to create a relationship with you. I have some amazing agent relationships in this business from other agents that I've done multiple transactions with because I know how they work. Right? The second thing is the feedback form. It drives me nuts. I don't think that it's my job as a buyer agent to give you feedback based on how you price a home or how your sellers price the home.
Okay.
Nah, I think it's a hot take. It drives me wild. If I'm conducting business well and I know we're situated properly, I don't need your feedback in terms of price. I don't want your feedback. I'm very astute as to what's going on with this property. I think a lot of agents rely on the feedback to help them do their job better for their seller. I don't think it's my job as a realtor to tell you what you need to do so you can sell that home.
Really? That's interesting.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
What else you got? You say you had 5.
All right. Here's another one. The third one is you can tell the way an agent operates by the way they prepare and send over their offer.
Oh God, yeah.
Yeah.
Dude, mine is so buttoned up. I get compliments on my stuff all the time.
Dude, like organize it.
Dude, it's so organized, man. I rename everything. Like I know, dude, there's people who send over like the whole PDF. It's like, go digging, you know.
Yes.
Like, please confirm receipt. ... Thanks.
Right. Yes. Right. Yeah. I just like the unorganized agent drives me wild. And then those are typically the agents that are like, take my offer. Can you stop the open house?
Yeah.
And 9 times out of 10, you know what you're getting into.
Yeah.
It's gonna be a shit show.
It's the same way as you can tell how organized the seller is by the way they fill out the disclosure.
Yes. Yeah.
You know,
Yeah,
it matters.
You can.
Right? It's a style.
The level of detail.
Yeah.
Yeah. What's yours?
Well, that you're gonna have to listen to the podcast. No, I'm kidding. Mine absolutely are offer deadlines on Sundays.
Oh yeah. Yeah, we talked about that before.
And it's not because I don't want to work.
Yeah.
It's because there is so little that buyers can control right now in this industry.
Yeah.
The least we can do for the consumer and honestly for the seller, is everyone have a Sanka and just relax on a Sunday night, because I've spent way too many Sundays. I've blown past the kitchen table, family dinner, after being out all day showing.
Yeah.
And now all of a sudden I got to belly up and write like 2 offers.
Yeah.
And I got to be on the phone the whole time. And I'm like,
it happened to me yesterday.
How does this actually serve the consumers?
It literally happened to me yesterday. I got a call yesterday from a longtime client of mine. He says, listen, I want to buy my daughter a house. We found the house. I need to schedule a showing. There's no information in the system at all, whether or not they were accepting, there was a deadline or what have you. I scheduled the appointment. On the way to the appointment, my appointment gets canceled. Property automatically marked pending. I'm like, what? Like, we're cash.
Yeah.
Like, I find out that my client grew up in the house next door and knew the original owners of the house that was being sold.
Yeah.
I'm like,
well, I mean, but yesterday in Doylestown, we got in on Saturday. She had an open house from 1 to 3. And then the offer deadline was at 3:30 with offer presentation at 5:30. And I was like, and we were well ahead of the game, like, because we submitted our offer on Saturday night.
Yeah.
But I'm like, you got to think about, what, and I have another one about open houses. I mean, open houses, I think open houses are detrimental to sales.
Okay.
And I'm
hot take.
And Jonathan Campbell is not happy with it.
Yeah.
He's like the open house king. You have to imagine somebody like your buddy, who says, they're just poking around, and all of a sudden, this house just checks all the boxes we weren't even considering. Like we didn't even know it was even going to pop up on our radar. But oh my God, we didn't no idea that this is where this house was. And like, it's so close to Antedel down the street, whatever.
Yeah.
Someone who went through that house at 2:00 might have gotten into their car at 2:30 and said, hey, Bob, we just saw this house. Can you come back tonight? And show us this thing? Because we weren't expecting to do anything. And isn't that like the dream scenario of a seller? Isn't that why they're doing the open house to begin with?
Yeah.
Now, I know open houses can also be for second showings.
Yep.
It can also be for spillover if you have too many showings. That wasn't this house.
Right.
But the fact is that there's no way that person got the absolute best offers by forcing that thing at 3:30 to be shut down, and then offer review at 5:30.
Yeah. See, I hate the other thing I hate is the presentation. Presentation of offers are happening by X time. My experience. Okay. Yeah. My experience is it never happens at that time, and it's always like, just get me your offer.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, are we on a tight timeline or are we not on a tight timeline?
I mean, listen, the seller like has to fly to San Francisco for work on Monday morning. Like,
right. Okay.
But let's just face it. Everyone's on their computer all day.
Yeah.
Everything can wait till Monday night.
Right.
But like, we're exhausting the agents. We're making ourselves look out of control.
Yeah.
We're stressing everybody out. The buyers, like, this is the one, other than an escalation clause, it is like the one thing we can allow for the buyers to just take a minute,
Yeah.
think about it, or call mom or call dad. And like, honestly, on a Sunday night, you're pushing these clients to place offers, and they're like not really sure, but they're like, okay, I just have to do this. Maybe that Sunday night is spent like talking to her dad, being like, you know what, honey, like when we bought a house 25 years ago, we had the same emotion. And then when on Monday they can come into it and like put a really great offer, like get a better offer, right?
For sure. I think what I've also experienced is, because of those offer deadlines, you have clients that are rushing to get that offer in, and they don't do what you just said, which is they don't think. And then that Monday morning, after they've signed all the documents, they don't want the offer anymore. They want to back out.
There is literally no benefit to it other than agents not wanting to work on Mondays.
Correct.
I don't know. Other than that, it's like, you know, I mean, I know there's an impatience, but like, I don't set offer deadlines on the outset.
Yeah.
And then I literally have him, speaking of presentation offers, in my presentation of offers in Bright, I say, I do not do Sunday night deadlines unless my seller specifically instructs me to. I tell all my sellers, I'm like, we don't do shit until Monday morning because of all this conversation we've had for the last 7 minutes.
Right.
It doesn't actually help the sale of the house to put these deadlines. But then I'm like, also like, what are you doing? You're putting an offer deadline a half hour after an open house. You're just asking for like chaos.
Yeah. There's no time to get home and write, or let alone like sit down and thought process.
Yeah, but like, and this is something that agents have like taken as dogma. It's like Sunday night deadline. It's so exciting, but it's like they're reducing their quality of life because they're like going in and they're like, oh no, I'm sorry, honey, I have to like, I know I've been gone all weekend and probably most of Friday showing property.
Yeah.
Now I got to go in and I'll see you. I'll kiss you goodnight in bed at 11 o'clock when I like come in the middle, you know, in the dark. Because I've been up like, you know, waiting for DocuSigns and hitting refresh.
Exactly.
Right.
Right.
And then, and I got a whole thing about open houses, but, you know, we can save that.
See, I love open houses.
I bet you do. I bet you love open houses, but you can't tell me it serves the seller.
Believe it or not, as a whole, I don't think it does, but I have had some tremendous opportunity come out of serving the seller through an open house.
I bet you've had a lot of tremendous opportunity, but we're talking about selling the house, bud.
No, I'm saying like transacting with a buyer that's come through that open house. Like I've had some, want to call it luck, maybe?
Okay.
Yeah, luck.
Yeah.
But we know what the open house is for. Let's not lie about it.
What's the open house for, Justin? You tell us before we hop off here.
That's for me to find unrepresented buyer clientele.
I know.
And to farm a neighborhood, right?
Yes.
That's what it's for. It's to get my name out in the community as the agent that's working there.
Yeah. I when I go into a listing appointment, I almost never bring up an open house because they're like, well, will you do an open house? And I say, well, has anyone talked to you through the pros and cons of an open house? Because there's plenty of cons. You want me to walk you through? You know, they don't, you know, and
it's the old school mentality of thinking.
Well, it's like the real estate brokerage of things. It's like the consumer doesn't engage with real estate like this anymore. Like that's not. It was a huge benefit back in the day, for sure.
Yeah. Right.
And certainly, it wasn't really even born from the common era. It was born from when there was no buyer agency.
Yeah. Right.
And just listing that was the only way listing agents could let buyers in.
Yeah.
Now everyone's got their own representative. Everyone's glued to Zillow. Everybody can see what's there. I personally think that a buyer's agent should get off the fat ass and get in there and show the property for their buyer.
I agree.
I agree. Right.
I agree.
I also think that, you know, you're talking about underselling, like, you know, someone who's a little hesitant putting in an offer on a Sunday night.
Sure.
The same psychological thing can happen in an open house because they're going to look up and they're like, well, I don't know what that is. Well, I guess we'll ask Nancy what that is. Like, just take a picture of that.
Yeah.
It's like,
looks like a leak.
Yeah, or like you don't have an agent there to like explain to you. It's like no, that's just like old staining. They look like it leaked in 1972. It's like that's just like common for this, like especially in like row home, like third floors, that type of shit. But like so you could get an offer, but they're undersold. They're not really, like bought in, and I think that there's like a lot of Now, listen, you need one to like release the pressure. You need a second, you need like a second showing.
Yeah.
I always send my clients back to the open house.
Yeah.
But
spend as much time as you need there.
Yeah. Well, I want them to be completely sure. So that when we write that offer and I got to call them back and be like, hey, I need another, 20 grand of your money. They're fully brought in and they know they want the house.
Right. Right.
So anyway, well, listen, this was a great conversation. I think we could probably go on and on about this business.
Well, we could.
I hope people trust realtors after this. So, but I appreciate you hopping on, and we'll talk soon.
Likewise. Appreciate it, man. Let's go do something productive today.
That's right.
All right. That's a wrap. Thanks for hanging out with us today. If this was your first time listening, head over to Instagram and check out more content and interviews at Make Your Own Key. There's plenty more waiting for you there. And if you got value from this episode, make sure to like, subscribe, and share it with someone who needs to hear it. Remember, success in this business is up to you. Your key, your move. We'll see you next time.